So I want to give you a couple examples of where you might find ingredients that are botanical. In the produce section, you'll have fresh items that are probably labeled as they are. If you go into something that's edible, they have a standardized ingredients list. And so the ingredients are going to come through as more like common name plant names. So I've chosen for a start here, we've got almond milk. And not everything on here is going to be strictly a plant product. You don't have to go searching to find the sources for, say, a chemical that's just listed as a molecule type. But there should be some plant names on some of the stuff you're looking for. So this is almond milk. And yeah, let's we'll go back to an ingredient there. So let's say I found this in the dairy section. You can compile a spreadsheet similar to this, ingredients, or maybe item, I don't know what to, fill in something useful that helps us to know what you're writing down here. So this is going to be almond milk. And then we've got to look up, add one. So almond milk. And we'll do that as the item. Item is almond milk. Ingredients. Okay, so looking through this label that's at the right side here, we got water, almonds. All right, imagine that, almonds in almond milk. Almonds, and I'm just going to copy and bring that over to Wikipedia. This is probably one of the easier ways to find out what you need to know about plants that are ingredients, and it'll probably direct you towards something that's more economically important. So if you have some synonyms or maybe a group of plants that has some representatives besides just the economically important one, you'll probably find information about the specific species that's giving you the item that's mentioned. So here we have almond. Wikipedia has this taxon box over on the right, so it walks us through the taxonomy, plant kingdom. And then finally here there's a family. So family Rosaceae, genus Prunus, and then family Prunus dulcis. So for almonds, it just tells us this one species with a synonym. So Rosaceae Prunus dulcis. And you don't have to worry about italics, but if you want, you can throw that in italics. All right, back to our list. So that was pretty easy. Calcium carbonate, that's just a molecule name. Tapioca starch. Let's go and look up tapioca. So tapioca starch, presumably coming from tapioca. So I'm going to continue with the dairy section, almond milk, and then this one's going to be tapioca or tapioca starch. Wikipedia, tapioca is a starch extracted from storage roots of the cassava plant, Manihota esculenta. This is focusing on the ingredient, but we can follow this link to cassava, and that gets us the taxon box. We talked about this in family Euphorbiaceae, and then we have Manihota esculenta. So Euphorbiaceae. And I'll just paste that in there. Look how easy this is. I don't know if we have too many plant ingredients on here. Here's another one, sunflower lecithin. So the plant is named, this is a molecule, but it mentions sunflower, so we could probably put sunflower on there. And that one might be a little trickier to track down a specific species. So if we look up sunflower, so a genus of 70 species, the common names sunflower and common sunflower typically refer to the popular annual species Helianthus annuus. And you know, you don't have to go into terrible detail, but that's good enough for us. That's probably the species. This is commonly cultivated sunflower. So let's see, I'll paste that in while I've got it. That was in family Asteraceae. And our item, just copy this down, and ingredient was sunflower lecithin. I guess you could put in the whole ingredient or the plant that you're interested in, kind of common name. Ultimately, we're going to try to avoid repeating ourselves for plant species. So whether it's sunflower oil or sunflower lecithin, or all those are going to be lumped into this one species, Helianthus annuus. Asteraceae. Okay, so natural flavor, vitamin A palmitate. That sounds like a molecule of vitamins, tocopherols, natural vitamin E. Nothing else really comes out as a plant ingredient. So we're probably okay with these main plant ingredients. Other ingredients would be plant derived, but it doesn't necessarily tell us like the plant that it comes from. And so we'll just kind of skip the specifics on those. The other example that I wanted to show is something from the beauty section, I guess. So this is a shampoo. I don't know, soaps and shampoos. And this is going to be a shampoo. And this is different because these are regulated a little bit differently. You're not meant to eat these, and so the ingredients are listed, but a lot of times they play by different rules. So I guess one nice thing about this is you can get scientific names showing up, which is kind of an interesting thing. It's sort of a strange throwback to scientific names. Sometimes they're not really common or current scientific names, so you might have to like follow your way to a modern synonym, but they basically have a meaning within the business of producing these scented items, basically is what they're functioning as. So you have a shampoo that has a scent to it, or maybe some purported role, strengthening your hair for putting some kind of plant stuff on there. But often, depending on the product, you'll find a lot of species represented here. So what I see some things called extract and leaf juice, bark extract, and they're following these two-word, what are basically binomials for species names. So we can just work our way down. We have Alpinia galanga, and we can look that one up. Alpinia galanga. And sure enough, that's a species. Looks to be a current species, and it's in this family called Zingiberaceae. So I don't know how useful that'll be. If these are listed as scientific names, you might not have to really repeat yourself on that one. I'm mostly interested that we can tally up all the plant names on here and put them in the right family. Okay, so Alpinia galanga, Betula alba. I'll bet you'll know what family that falls into. Betulaceae. And we can just skip right to that one. That's a familiar genus name. We could just fill it in, I think. Histidine, that's just an amino acid for some reason. Allobarbadensis. 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 Synonym of aloe vera. So I guess the synonyms will be useful, maybe to keep from artificially inflating our species list too much. So here we have family Asphodelaceae, Allobarbadensis. According to Wikipedia, which is usually pretty well updated, that's a synonym of aloe vera, which you've probably heard of already. Here's one, Eclonia radiata extract. I'm not familiar with that one offhand, so this will be fun. Eclonia radiata. Species of kelp. What? Didn't see that coming. All right. Lessoniaceae. So this is way out from flowering plants. The plants kelp do belong to the same classification system, so they have the same formulaic family names. I'm going to put a little note in here. That is not a flowering plant. All right, that's why I didn't recognize it. Fragrance, guar, hydroxypropyl guar. That sounds more like a chemical than a plant. Citric acid, oleal alcohol. So some of these they're named for plants, but they don't really have plant specifically in them as an extract. So I think we could probably leave it at that. So for two products, we're already up to 7 lines, 7 entries in our table, and nothing is overlapped so far. So if you keep going through a section, I'm going to ask you to get a specific number of entries, and then as a class, we'll tally this all up and see what kinds of families are represented. Maybe this gives you a feel for how many different families you think might be out there in the old grocery store. So we looked just at 2 items and got 7 species. How many are represented in the whole building?